Shoujo back with Classic Gamefest, and we've been exploring a wonderful, wonderful RPG world that just takes you back to the roots of RPGs, back before you needed guilds, back before you needed anything. And then it's also so inclusive that, okay, I'm just going to sing praises about it all day. We're going to go ahead to this.
All right.
All right. So, sir, introduce yourself to the wonderful crowd.
Hi, I'm Richard Garriott, may be known to some of you classic gamers as Lord British. Probably best known for the Ultima series, but did a number of things before and some things now after. You know, one of the reasons I'm excited to be at Classic Gamefest is my lineage in games goes back to literally the beginning, back to teletypes that we've got on display back there, up through those games predate Ultima. Then I wrote the Ultima series, invented the word Avatar. UO introduced MMORPGs, and our latest is now Shroud of the Avatar, sort of the spiritual successor of frankly, the whole lineage back to 1975, when I wrote some of the backstories of the initial characters, like my own Lord British, that still continues into this game. And Shroud of the Avatar is both, we think, kind of a cutting-edge new game in some ways, but also a throwback to a lot of old school ideals in many ways also. You know, one of our beliefs is that a lot of modern role-playing games, especially online role-playing games, have become so, we helped add, or many times ourselves, so many helpful things like exclamation points or quest logs or arrows on the map or branching dialogue to broaden the audience and make it easier. We sort of also made it brain dead. And so we actually abandoned all that in favor of actually talking to characters in text. We still put mini maps, of course. We still have a lot of the essential modern ingredients, but we tried to then reinvent new ways to not spoil the need to think while you're playing. We're having a good time showing it here too. In fact, it's always interesting to see the difference between old school players and these young kids. You know, the young kids that have grown up, playing first-person shooters and other things can sit down and immediately, they don't need any instructions, they just sit down and play. And that, the good and bad news of that is, the good news is we have a nice new young and up-and-coming generation. The bad news is, with a role-playing game, I'm always trying to find ways to go beyond the WASD mouse control. But every time I see kids playing and being able to sit down and play it immediately, I'm going like, I guess we still need to stick with that because that's what everybody knows, and everybody knows. But then I also like having some of the more old guard sit down, because they're the ones who like have a conversation with an NPC, going like, of course you can actually talk to an NPC again. How refreshing, you know. And where the younger kids are going like, what do? I have to talk? You know, at the age of 19, I was one of the first people ever to publish a game. At the age of 20, a bunch more 19-year-olds came in. And 21, more 19-year-olds came in. And so I've perpetually been the oldest guy in the industry. And so now I actually have a little gray hair and beard, or lot, as the case may be. But it has been funny that even at 25, I was basically the oldest guy. Still the oldest guy. One of.
But that's an awesome honor, because, you know, you've literally watched history happen.
Yeah, and I've had the good fortune to be, you know, to have little pieces of it, you know, make little pieces of it. Exactly. It's fun. It's been a fun industry so far, and still.
Yeah. So, okay, so we've got the website and everything, but of course there's always a younger generation that's always looking, you know, they can't exactly find their way into the industry. So what advice do you have for them?
Very interesting, because, you know, that's also changed down through the years. You know, when 20, 30 years ago, it would always be like, you know, get your parents to buy a computer and start hacking around on typing in some programs, and ta-da, you can program and make a game. Of course, that's no longer true. Now, you know, we don't hire anybody anymore that doesn't already have a degree, if not an advanced degree, has done a bunch of independent projects on their own to show that they're really personally motivated to make games, not just take a class and hope to get a job. And so my advice these days is, you know, first, you know, don't do what I did. Don't be a college dropout. You know, you really do need a college degree to even enter this. And then, depending on where you want to get into, you know, design or art or programming, design is actually the hardest. With art and programming, you can at least take classes that teach you those specific skills and build portfolios that prove to a hiring person that I can do that work. For design, while a few schools teach it, it's still hard to put a portfolio together. You can still like I modded these levels or something. It's usually not that persuasive. Even if you are good, it's hard to be persuasive in your portfolio. And but really, the most important part is not only build whatever those portfolios are that you can, but you really have to get in with a game company as early as you can. You just, as soon as you have marginal skills, start war dialing, your favorite game companies every 3 months, over and over again, because only by being familiar with you, being familiar with your work, being familiar that you're really interested, at the time that one opening opens up that you might be able to help them with. And so be willing to come in at, I don't care how low level a position is, QA, customer service, even though you think you might want to be the best game designer on earth and producer or whatever else, get your foot in the door. Once your foot's in the door, you'll find it to be a lot easier to move around anywhere that your heart takes you in that company, and that you're willing to go learn and master and prove you can do. But getting in is the hard step. Leaving school and getting in is the hard step. So early and often is prepare well, apply early and often.
Prepare well, early and often, and of course, keep trying.
You got it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking time to talk to us today.
My pleasure, absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.